Why smaller contracts are the new normal in Indian IT. The global economic uncertainties notwithstanding, three of India's major IT companies reported a 15% sequential rise in the total value of contracts won in Q4 of FY25, though largely led by deals in the $1 to $5 million category. This is the second quarter when the companies have increased deal wins based on smaller deals, the data shows. According to Greyhound Research, the rising prevalence of $1 to $5 million deals reflects deep-seated uncertainty in client boardrooms, particularly as U.S. tariff rhetoric and regulatory scrutiny continue to muddy the waters for global services delivery. FY26 will be marked by selective wins, not sweeping growth. Clients are segmenting large transformation programs into bite-sized, milestone-driven contracts that can be paused or refactored quickly if the external climate worsens. The new gold standard is not contract value, but resilience and optionality, said Sanchit Gogia, Chief Analyst and CEO at Greyhound Research. As quoted in the Hindu Business Line, in an article authored by Volari Sanjiri published on April 20th, 2025. Additional comments by Greyhound Research Analyst. Smaller deal sizes reflect enterprise hesitation amid tariff turbulence. Greyhound Flashpoint. Indian IT's average deal size rose sequentially, yet still trails last year's benchmark. Evidence of sustained client caution. Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025 finds 64% of North American CIOs are prioritizing cost control over transformation, and 61% have either delayed or restructured procurement. At Greyhound Research, we believe the proliferation of smaller deals signals not just budget pressure, but an industry-wide pivot to agile, risk-mitigated execution models in the face of political and economic volatility. Greyhound Standpoint. According to Greyhound Research, the rising prevalence of $1 to $5 million deals is neither an aberration nor a tactical blip. It reflects deep-seated uncertainty in client boardrooms, particularly as U.S. tariff rhetoric and regulatory scrutiny continue to muddy the waters for global service delivery. FY26 will be marked by selective wins, not sweeping growth. Clients are segmenting large transformation programs into bite-sized, milestone-driven contracts that can be paused or refactored quickly if the external climate worsens. The new gold standard is not contract value, but resilience and optionality. Greyhound Pulse Insights. Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025 data indicates 61% of Fortune 1000 CIOs in the U.S. have paused or revised their technology deals due to policy volatility. Within this group, nearly half report that board oversight has increased for any contract over $10 million, driving the shift to sub-$5M deal structures. Sectoral analysis shows this is most pronounced in BFSI, healthcare, and logistics, where deal fragmentation has become the norm rather than the exception. Greyhound Field Notes. Per a recent Greyhound Field Note from a top 10 U.S. retailer, an original $22 million digital overhaul was broken into 5 smaller sprints, each with a discrete business outcome and the right to rebid at each stage. The CIO shared that uncertainty around tariffs and labor policy made it impossible to commit to a multi-year contract. This friction led to process delays and additional legal overhead, showing that what looks like vendor wins on paper often masks a much more tentative client commitment in reality. Tariffs and policy headwinds will prolong the trend towards smaller deals. Greyhound Flashpoint. The tariff and trade policy saga is creating an era of confidence disruptors for Indian IT. According to Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025, 61% of North American CIOs say ongoing tariff discussions are directly delaying multi-year IT investments. At Greyhound Research, we believe this trend, smaller, staggered deals, and elongated decision cycles, will persist until clients see genuine clarity on U.S. trade and labor policy. The shift is structural, not cyclical. Greyhound Standpoint. According to Greyhound Research, tariff volatility is forcing technology buyers to rewire their risk models. Clients are proactively limiting exposure to policy swings by favoring modular, quick-turn engagements over traditional TCV megadeals. FY26 will be defined by this cautious approach, with deal momentum closely tied to confidence cycles rather than the fiscal calendar, until there is credible, bipartisan stability on U.S. tariffs, localization, and tech visas. Indian IT vendors should expect to build pipelines around smaller, renewal-driven contracts, especially in the Americas. Greyhound Pulse Insights. Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025 finds that 36% of major U.S. buyers have recently revised their vendor portfolios to reduce geographic concentration. while 28% of decision makers in regulated industries now require explicit compliance sign-off before committing to any large-scale IT contract. Clients are not just nervous. They're systemically redesigning their procurement and delivery processes for agility in a volatile global market. Greyhound Field Notes. Per a recent Greyhound Field Note from a North American BFSI client, a $15 million cloud migration project was converted into three $5 million proof-of-value phases, with no guarantee of follow-on spend. The CTO cited tariff whiplash and political risk as factors that made the board unwilling to greenlight the original proposal. This piecemeal approach has since been adopted in other transformation programs, confirming that the preference for small, reversible contracts is now a feature, not a bug, of the industry landscape. With U.S. weakness, Indian IT eyes Europe for stable growth. Greyhound Flashpoint. Indian IT's American geographies have underperformed, leaving India and EMEA to carry overall growth. Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025 data shows 41% of Western European CIOs plan to increase tech budgets in FY26 versus just 21% in North America. At Greyhound Research, we believe Europe is poised to attract renewed focus from Indian vendors seeking predictable policy, resilient funding, and vertical-specific digital demand. Greyhound Standpoint. According to Greyhound Research, the rebalancing toward Europe is no longer optional. With the U.S. market mired in tariff tension and regulatory overhang, e.g., ongoing discrimination probes, Indian IT firms must diversify risk by scaling their European and emerging market operations. Europe, particularly the DACH, Nordics, and UK, is seeing steady demand for sectoral cloud, Gen AI, and digital infrastructure, offering a stabilizing effect for vendors facing headwinds in the Americas. Greyhound Pulse Insights. Greyhound CIO Pulse 2025 shows that 48% of European CIOs expect to expand technology budgets, compared to only 21% in the U.S. European buyers also rate Indian IT highly for cost efficiency and execution stability, particularly in industries such as energy, automotive, and public sector. This creates a robust runway for growth, so long as vendors can demonstrate deep vertical expertise and a presence in local delivery hubs. Greyhound Field Notes. Per a recent Greyhound Field Note from a leading UK energy utility, a Tier 1 Indian IT provider won a €35 million automation deal after demonstrating both Gen AI maturity and a proven record of delivery through recent economic shocks. Meanwhile, a U.S. pharma client froze a similar engagement, citing ongoing tariff cloud and heightened compliance anxiety. These contrasting experiences are becoming the rule, not the exception, signaling that Europe may become the strategic center of gravity for Indian IT in FY26. Analyst in Focus. Sanchit Gogia. Sanchit Gogia, or SVG as he is popularly known, is a globally recognized technology analyst, innovation strategist, digital consultant, and board advisor. SVG is the chief analyst, founder and CEO of Greyhound Research, a global, award-winning technology research, advisory, consulting, and education firm. Greyhound Research works closely with global organizations, their CXOs, and the board of directors on technology and digital transformation decisions. SVG is also the founder and CEO of the House of Greyhound, an eclectic venture focusing on interdisciplinary innovation. Copyright policy. All content contained on the Greyhound Research website is protected by copyright law and may not be reproduced, distributed, transmitted, displayed, published, or broadcast without the prior written permission of Greyhound Research or, in the case of third-party materials, the prior written consent of the copyright owner of that content. You may not alter, delete, obscure, or conceal any trademark, copyright, or other notice appearing in any Greyhound Research content. We request our readers not to copy Greyhound Research content and not republish or redistribute them, in whole or partially, via emails or republishing them in any media, including websites, newsletters, or intranets. We understand that you may want to share this content with others, so we've added tools under each content piece that allow you to share the content. If you have any questions, please get in touch with our community relations team at connect@thofker.com.